Madam Chairman.
Hi. I'm not clever on Zoom, so sorry I'm a little bit late.
You're fine.
If you, okay, I think maybe I can pull up the agenda and share it. How about, does that sound?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Anne, how are you?
Well, hanging in there. How about you, Heidi?
I missed seeing you at the book club meeting.
Yeah, I wasn't having a very good day that day. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. We missed you.
Okay, I can't share my screen, I'm afraid.
Yeah, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think you have to have
Okay.
the host has to do that. Does everyone have an agenda in front of them?
Yes. All right.
Jim,
Well,
are you taking minutes, Jim?
I'll take notes, yep.
thank you. It looks like Tanya emailed me and she said she's going to be, if she comes on at all, it'll be late. She's got a class she teaches on Tuesday nights in the summer. So right now we don't actually have a quorum.
Oh,
So we can continue, but we cannot vote on anything.
okay.
If Tanya can join us later, then we could go back and circle back and vote on anything that's still open. But as of right now, we're not an official meeting.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. And, if we just, can we just, I know I jumped on late, but just to acknowledge that Kurt Sawyer is on the call.
Yeah. Hi, Kurt.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Just
Expressed
great.
an
Thank
interest in participating, so I invited him. I hope that's okay.
Of course.
Oh.
Happy to have him here.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Hi to everybody. So we had minutes from the May meeting. However, we cannot actually make a motion in second. So did anyone beside, I know Heidi, you typed in some things today. Were those changes made, Jim?
Oh, I didn't see any. I did not see any changes to the meeting minutes.
Yeah, I sent them at 9 o'clock to everybody. Was everyone okay with them? I had, so Jim was about the newsletter, and then I had a question about 10 days for trees. Did we make a final decision on that? I can't remember.
No, it was discussed last meeting as far as the 10 days for trees. This is the Pools Corner planting. I would say it's not an EAC project any longer because it's not going to be affiliated with 10 days for trees. My understanding from Stephanie was that if it goes forward in the fall, it would probably be done by staff, done by Chris Mason and his crew, and possibly with the professional crew from Doylestown Borough, but no EAC members, no public members, no volunteers of any type would be involved, assuming that we're in still the same sort of status that we are now with COVID. The feeling was that if they could do the planting, it would not be an EAC event, it would be a township project.
Okay.
I haven't had anything further from her. Andrea, do you know if there's been anything on that?
I do not believe that there has been, but that sounds accurate. And Stephanie is on the call muted.
Oh, good.
She's letting us, but I can double check with her tomorrow and get back to you guys just so we can have more clarity on that.
Yeah, it's
Right.
just true because Annie had mentioned that there were monies from Bucks Beautiful that we didn't want to lose that. So, you know.
Exactly. Bucks Beautiful is hurting as so many organizations are right now because they're two big fundraisers at a gala in April. Of course, that was canceled. And then their kitchen and garden tour, which would have been this coming weekend, I think, well, it was also canceled. So when I spoke with Denise Czak right before the close down and then subsequently a couple weeks after that, she said, if you guys are going to go ahead with the planting, I need to know, and you need to do it this year because we may not exist next year. We just don't know what our funding will be, if anything. So for that $1,500 contribution, yes, we do need to act in 2020. Now, we could do, of course, a smaller planting with the two $1,500 from the borough, $1,500 from the township. That would still give us $3,000 towards trees. So it could be done that way. The other wild card here, and I have not spoken with Jeff Schumacher, so I don't know anything about this, but just having done some mail order things with plants this spring, places are absolutely sold out. So it's possible that the trees that he had spec'd for us at Feeney's may or may not still be available. So this is another wild card that I simply can't address because I don't have any information from Jeff.
Okay, I just want to make sure we didn't lose sight of it, you know, so Jim, if you
Absolutely.
those 4 things in for the minutes.
I will. So, right. So let me revise the minutes. I'll recirculate those
Okay.
probably this evening, and then we can't approve them anyway tonight, right? So we'll have to.
Not so far anyway.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
Tanya's got, like I said, a class and then a family issue going on. So I think it's unlikely that she's going to be able to join us.
Okay. I'll revise the main minutes.
Great, thank you so much.
All right. The budget review, there's not much on the budget. I think, Andrea, it was just some expenses from some publications and maybe the magnets. I think it's $227 or
That is correct.
207, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
77 that's been spent. So we have plenty left. It's just we don't have a lot of opportunities right now to spend.
Mhm.
We don't need an approval on the budget, but hopefully everybody's looked at that and is up to date.
Can I ask you, Dan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
The how is COVID affecting the township's finances? You're probably mostly property taxes, right? So that probably doesn't change that much.
Well, so we are having real discussions about, and you're welcome to come to the budget workshop next meeting.
Thank you.
If you really want to know. We're discussing expected downfall in revenue from our earned income tax.
Yep.
Okay, right. Yeah.
Projection, our finance team is looking back at 2008 and the last recession to see how we were impacted then, and projections going forward. So far, property taxes, home sales still kind of continued. Whether that was banks claiming property or something, they were still paying the taxes on that property. So we don't expect to see maybe a slight dip in revenue there, but not a significant one. Earned income tax is going to be the one where we're expecting, or bracing for a possible significant downturn in our revenue there.
Okay.
So we're monitoring that. It was brought to the board's attention our last supervisors meeting last month. We had the budget workshop before that. We've added another one to look further into detail on this.
Yeah. Okay. No service cuts yet, though.
Service delays, but no service cuts. Some of our road paving projects and such have been pushed off, or were pushed off for a few months. I think they're going to be picking back up in July. I think I have to double check the calendar in my head. But yeah, a few were delayed just to see where our finances were going to be to kind of brace ourselves for that possibility.
That makes sense. Thanks, Dan.
Mhm.
Jim, do you have anything further?
I had a quick question, actually. Are we allowed to, work in the native garden now and deal with the bluebird boxes and so on? Are we allowed to do that now?
Yes, I confirmed with Stephanie just the other day, and I was going to mention it. Now that we are in the yellow phase and our parks have reopened and the facilities and amenities have reopened, we can resume the workshops, but we do ask that obviously, nobody shares tools. Everyone uses their own tools, and that we do maintain a 6-foot distance and, continue to wash our hands and things of that nature. But we can resume at the native plant garden.
Okay, good.
That's good. That's something that's not on the agenda, but I know Janine was eager to have photographs done.
I took some photos today, actually.
Okay. Can you get those to Janine then?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. She's still going to put our garden in for the PHS Gardening Award, community gardens, I guess. And but they require pictures. I think there was a video, but they actually need still photography. So we're moving ahead, at least in that way. So that's good.
That's great.
Yeah. I'm going to move ahead to new business. We have a vacancy on EAC, obviously, with Dawn's passing. And we have Kurt here tonight, which is wonderful. Kurt, do you want to just say hello to everybody, or have you done that? Or could you give a little background about?
We did kind of do that.
Okay,
And
sorry.
I know some of the people on this call, obviously. I know Anne.
For a long time.
For a very long time. Yeah,
Yes.
My wife and Anne grew up together
Yes.
many years ago. But then I've met Heidi and Jim through other parts of the process here. I'm just a local enthusiast. I'm very interested, particularly in renewable energy type things. As Heidi knows from our solar tour, we invested in a solar array for our house, and so we are now fully electric from our solar, including charging my electric car off of the solar panels. So
Wow.
I get to say with pride that I drive on sunshine every day. So you got to love that part.
Wonderful.
Absolutely.
But I've gotten involved with the Ready for 100. That's been terrific. And then Jim mentioned that there might be an opportunity to be engaged in the EAC, and I'd love to do that if that would be of interest to you all.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, Kurt, thank you so much for putting your hand up. I heard just this evening that there is another person who has thrown his hat in the ring,
Yes,
and there is a process, right? So,
there is.
Kurt, I think the next step would be for you to write a short letter of introduction, a letter of interest, perhaps a CV or resume if you have it, and I would I'll send you Stephanie's emails separately to this, so you can send that to her. There's an interview process, and then the Board of Supervisors actually will make a selection. So that's ongoing. There is another candidate in the process. So sort of an embarrassment of riches, and we'll just see how that plays out. But
No problem.
And I will say, Kurt, the other thing is, depending on how this plays out, is that although we have a limited number of actual voting members, there are also opportunities for associate members who can't vote but participate, join meetings, and contribute. And so that may be something of interest as well for you or the other fellow. So we'll see. We'll take that. We'll see how that goes as the process plays out. So, but I'll follow up with you, Kurt, about the next steps.
Great, thank you.
Andrew, isn't there an actual application through the township?
I don't believe there is. We just ask for a letter of interest to be sent, and
only a resume.
yeah, a letter of
always
interest,
get one.
resume. I think we typically, I don't know, we'd have to double check with Stephanie if she wants it directly to her, or he could send it to info,
Yeah.
and then with the attention to Stephanie so they can make sure it gets to her, but
Stephanie indicated that I could send it to
send
her.
it right to her.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right, good.
Kurt, just so you know, the Board of Supervisors is actually meeting next Tuesday. So, if you are interested, you might want to jump on it sooner than later.
Mhm.
Not a problem.
Great. Thank you so much. We're so excited about your interest.
I know where you live too, so better do it.
Exactly.
I thought we had Marty there for a minute.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, hi, honey.
Hey, Marty.
Hi, Marty.
Hey!
Well, this is great. We actually have a quorum then. So we could actually vote on the minutes if we'd like to do that. Is there a motion?
I make the motion.
Okay, so we have to.
I know you're going to add the changes, but
Yeah.
we could do it with that proviso.
For tentative count, we agree for street plan. Okay, I mean, I'm good with that if that's.
Well, did everyone have a chance to read all the changes though before? I'm not really comfortable with that. I'd rather Jim, rewrite it and resend it and then vote later.
Okay.
Yeah. Why don't we, rather than push it through, I'll recirculate them and we'll look at it. Can
All right.
we approve them by an email vote? Is that a thing?
I don't think so because it needs to be an official meeting is
Okay,
my
okay.
understanding. So it would have to be the next meeting, but that's all right.
We'll do it next month. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Virtual invasives idea. I'm not sure what she's talking about with that.
So that was my idea. And,
Okay. Tell me about that.
So obviously Janine is passionate about invasive species and getting rid of them. And, her workshop was canceled. So I thought, well, could we sort of put something on the website, which is, let's say, the invasive plant of the month? Maybe one that's in bloom or it's kind of conspicuous. So,
Okay.
garlic mustard was really conspicuous last month. Japanese stilt grass is kind of like emerging now. And, so once a month, this is a description of the invasive weed. This is some pictures, and this is something that people can just become aware of. Just an idea. There's a million resources on the internet. I don't know if anybody was interested in picking up that idea. I can't promise that I can do it right now, but it's just a thought.
I think it's a great idea, Jim. I'm all on board. I'd be happy to help, participate with that. Maybe Janine and I can put our heads together and come up with a plan.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just if you came up with 12 invasives, one per month, that might be, so like in October, burning bush is kind of, or September is kind of conspicuous, right? So maybe one that kind of correlates so that people can see it when they're reading the thing on the website.
No, that's
Anyway, that's just my idea. So I'll just.
Well, you wouldn't have to do 12. I mean, there are dormant months, so nothing would be blooming or obvious. But you could, I think, through the growing season, I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
Andrew, would that work okay for you?
Definitely. I would love to work with you guys. If you guys, gather the content and the information, I can help. We can all work together and I can help, create kind of the creative document, if you will, and we can get it out there.
Who else? I mean, Jim, so this is your idea. So, do you want to spearhead it, or how do you want to do this?
No, I really don't, please. I really can't do it.
I hear you. Also, then I'll just, put an email together just as a follow-up from tonight, and then everyone can jump on as they wish, and Janine, can take it up as she wishes, and we'll just see where it goes.
That sounds good. All right, let's move along. New mono area, I can't say that. New no mow area in Central Park. Again, I'm not entirely sure what she's talking about. Andrea, do you know what that is?
Yeah.
Good.
So I guess it's been a couple months. Chris Mason has decided to create kind of a new no mow area, which is near the when we planted the bicentennial trees, the grove area that the Notary planted.
Yeah.
So that is now growing into a meadow-like area, and I think it's a great addition to Central Park, and it's starting to grow. So looks nice.
Tell Chris a big thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris had talked about that when we planted those trees, and it's great that he's actually followed through. That's terrific. It's less pollution, more habitat. It's all good.
Andrew, I have a question. Is there anyone that's taking photos of the progress of that? Because that would be really fun to follow with the meadow management workshop that we did. Of just seeing the evolution of, from going from, grass to no mowing, and it might just be a fun blog entry or something.
Yeah. No, no one is currently taking pictures, but that is a good idea. I walk there often since I, live close by, so I can start, trying to take some pictures, and maybe we can, string them together in kind of a timeline effect.
That'd be great. That'd be really nice. It would just be a nice follow-up from that workshop, and, just showing people what it looks like and how it evolves so quickly. That's great. Can you tell Chris a huge thank you from our organization and from our council?
Absolutely. That's great. Great. Good. Well, that is very good. Ready for 100. Jim, is that you, or Heidi, is that you?
No, it's Jim.
Yeah. Okay. So I'll speak to that. So we did not have a meeting this month, and it's my fault. I just could not get myself together this month to organize the meeting. And by the time it was almost the day of the meeting, Tanya and I were wondering what we were going to do. So we ended up canceling it for this month. I feel bad about it, but I just couldn't get it together. As it happens, that was the day of the big storm, and I had no electricity anyway. So I would not have been on the meeting even if there had been a meeting, because I didn't have any electricity.
I think a lot of people were in trouble too, Jim. And I think, Jim, don't beat yourself up about this. I mean, we're in the middle of a pandemic still. It's really hard to keep the ball rolling on a lot of projects. I mean, I think it's great that we're meeting tonight, but honestly, I think it's a stretch for all of us. I mean, or at least for myself, you can try to keep the ball rolling in every organization that I'm part of, and we keep work going and so on and so forth. So
Yeah. Well,
no worries. I'm sure people, were appreciative that they actually had a month off.
Well, yeah, thank you, Heidi. I will say that, okay, and with regard to the Ready for 100 now is pushing forward with this sort of do-it-yourself energy transition plan. They've collected some data, and I did fill out a survey on behalf of Doylestown Township. They've probably got responses from 8 or 10 communities now that have done that. They're compiling those. They want to have a kickoff meeting so people can go through this energy transition template together. As it happened, the first meeting was also on the day of the power outage, so it didn't happen. But there will be a energy transition plan kickoff meeting, I think sometime later this week. I haven't seen the follow-up date. So I will stay on top of that. The other thing I want to say is that we can't lose sight of what we can do in our township, right? So apart from the county, what can we do in our township? And I've got some ideas that I'd like to circulate. Again, it's hard because, we're not getting together, and, the township building is closed and all these issues. But and of course, now that there's some budget implications as well. But so for example, have we maxed out every opportunity to conserve electricity in the township? But there was some talk about some of the outdoor lighting. Have we addressed that? Could we address that? Could we inventory our vehicle fleet and see which vehicles are cycling out due to be replaced, and if any of those might be candidates for EV replacement? We can think about that. Could we think about purchasing right now 100% renewable energy for the township, right? So we don't have to build solar panels. You can actually go out and just buy that now. I do it in my house. I think it costs slightly more than Pico, but maybe at a certain scale, it's the same price as Pico. We need to investigate that. And then, as a transition to a broader plan, maybe the township just can buy renewable energy at the same price as Pico. And if it's cost neutral, maybe, that's something. So there's a few things that we should be doing at the township level that I'd like to start to push on a little bit harder. So I'll just stop with that.
Well, Joe, does that mean we need to be showing up at Board of Supervisors, or how are we going to be advancing?
Well, here's what I that's a good question. Dan obviously is here on our calls. He's our liaison, and I know he's passionate about this. So maybe either as a full group or perhaps as a subgroup, we can start to bounce some ideas together around on email, or by maybe have a short phone call or something, and just say what's the low-hanging fruit? What are the easy wins? What can we accomplish during this whole COVID fiasco that the township could take on at this point? And a lot of it could be just stuff we could do ourselves. So again, just looking at a list of the township vehicles. Getting all the electric bills, and maybe having Pico, getting a sense of what we're spending on electricity, and how much of that could be switched out for renewable. So some things we could do, and I'll take an action item to get together with Heidi and Tanya, think about what the low-hanging fruit might be, and then maybe we can pull Dan into that conversation and see if there's some quick wins we can get, as we're thinking about a broader energy transition plan.
That's a
Yeah,
good
I think having some ideas to start, and then I can come in and we can ask Dave Tomko to join us, since he oversees our facilities and that kind of thing. So he would be the one to have those lists and know where those transitions are. Just as a heads up, one of the projects that we're working on right now is moving the Central Park lighting over to LED lights. So that's one of the things we're investigating, but I don't have the numbers in front of me for our other parks that we provide lighting to as well. So those are things we can keep in mind as well.
Right. And Pico will subsidize some of those things, right? So we should keep that in mind. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And it's not.
I thought there was a discussion, this was a while ago, about possibly code enforcement needing to replace his vehicle, Sinclair, and that might be a perfect sort of first start for an EV, rather than trying to get trucks or heavier things that move converted over.
Yeah.
So that might be something to also just follow up on. Maybe I've misremembered that because it was a while ago, but I thought that code enforcement was due for a new vehicle.
Yeah, and that's a good point. And then we should look for, and this is something I don't know much about, but look for grant money, perhaps for chargers. I think based on the Volkswagen settlement, apparently states have grant money for EV infrastructure. But whether they're taking, grant applications for very small projects, I don't know. It might be there's a minimum size to the project. That's something I don't know, but maybe I can explore that. So if we get the charger for free, that would be a win, and then maybe some vehicles. So let's sort of put that on the parking lot for now, and we'll think about some of those activities. But I think those
Jimmy, we were talking about putting like a short meeting together too for us to organize ourselves better for Ready for 100 on the county level.
That's another thing I really want to do. Yes.
Now at that meeting, maybe we can branch off and talk about that too. Like there could be two parts to the meeting.
Great idea. Okay.
And
That's great.
Jim, just a suggestion, when you guys are putting together this list of things the township can work on, low-hanging fruit, I'm sure that list can be duplicated to other partners in the area.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Good point, Dan. Well, thanks, Jim. That was a good update. Appreciate that. Does anyone have is there further discussion on this? Or should we continue on to Birdtown? Birdtown, okay. Heidi?
Thanks, Ann. So last month, I talked about the role that Bucks Audubon is playing with Birdtown. We met with Lee Altadonna, and we came with like 4 main things of number one, creating a group Facebook, which I sent to you guys again, as you can join that. There's already at least 95 people that have joined that group, which is fantastic. Continue to support the Birdtown Habitat Recognition Program. Also provide on the Bucks Audubon website a place to have programs and resources, which we're still working on, and then commit to an annual fall summit. So those things are definitely going to be happening through Bucks Audubon. So then we took it to, so I pulled Audubon PA in because they really haven't been that, I won't say receptive, but they haven't been, really moving things forward with Birdtown. And I was kind of like pushing them a little bit with coming up with this plan. So we actually met on May 13th with Valerie Peckman from Audubon PA. And they're very excited about what we're coming up with and really want to expand upon it. So they're 100% behind Birdtown still. And it's kind of being enveloped into the bird-friendly program. And the main strategies and focuses for them would be advocacy, education, and engagement. And so expanding with that, we also met with Jasmine, who's a student from University of Penn, who's also evaluating this program and trying to improve it. And it's improving the application process. And then talking about how to handle the applications for future bird towns from the county and through the greater area. Who will actually be reading those applications? How will the bird town be approved and so on? So we're still working on those things. So we had some really good momentum going, but with COVID, it's really impacted Audubon PA. It's really, really hurt their budget.
Yeah.
And a lot of things are up in the air there right now. So Birdtown, unfortunately, is up in the air right now as well, as far as like just continuing that forward motion. So I called and talked with Lee Altadonna today. He's going to be having some board meetings in a couple of weeks with Audubon PA, and will get back to me at the end of the month to just see where we were at. So
yeah, it's a tough time right now. Yeah,
it really is. I've been really trying to keep it moving forward. It's just hard to keep that momentum going right now. So, but things are looking good. I'm really excited about some of the things that we talked about through Audubon PA, and I think we're going to continue to enrich the program, make it even stronger.
That sounds awesome.
So there's going to be an annual, there's going to be a fall summit. Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Do we know when or where by any chance?
We do not know. We don't have a date yet, but it'll definitely be at Bucks Audubon. Depending on the pandemic, it might be a Zoom meeting. So we'll just see.
Yeah.
But we had a meeting, we had a summit last year, we've had summits before, Jim, as you know, and it's just an opportunity for bird towns to come together, share what they've been working on, what they're excited about, and then issues that they have and, where they need help. So they're a lot of fun. They're very energetic. It's a great way to continue to support the program. But Birdtown's going well. We just need to get out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah. In so many ways we need to, yes. Thanks, Heidi. Anyone have other comments on Birdtown?
Yes, I do. Heidi, I went for a walk at Honey Hollow with Diane on Saturday, and I saw my first Baltimore Oriole.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
So
Fantastic.
that was a milestone. A
That is
life-
huge.
Yay.
That's so
Little
glad
things,
for you.
little things that make me happy.
Yeah, me too.
That's-
That's great, Jim. Thanks for sharing that. I didn't
I've
we
been
had one last year here, but I haven't seen one this year. That's really, I'm very jealous.
And there's a nest. There's a nest too. You can find.
Wow, that's great. Awesome.
All right,
I've
sorry.
also walked at the Audubon a couple times.
Oh,
I
good.
haven't seen that bird, but I've enjoyed myself. It's very
Oh, good.
beautiful.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta go with Diane. She's amazing.
Oh, good. I'm glad I'll pass that along to her. So yeah, good. Thanks for sharing.
Good, good. Thank you, guys. That's very hopeful. Thank you, Heidi, for at least having something to look forward to, something that's still moving. That's all good. So thank you.
Thanks.
Heritage trees. Marty, do you
Yeah.
have any information on heritage trees?
I normally, somebody gives me the person's name and address and so forth, and then we'll go out and measure them. That usually comes from our chairman. I haven't heard anything.
Okay. It may be that people are reluctant right now with COVID to have people they don't know on the property. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a low priority right now.
Yeah, well, when we get the message in, then we'll go out and measure them. Talking about trees, I got an inquiry from Janine about the tree for Don Richardson.
Yeah.
I got a price. It's not the cheapest nursery in all the world, but he does a much better job. Do you want the prices?
Yeah.
Okay. The prices I got from Walter, so that they do a very good job, and they're only about 5 or 10% more than some of the other nurseries, but they do a much better job.
Okay.
Anyway, 2 to 2.5, $185.
2 to 2.5 caliper,
Right.
185. Okay.
And
2.5 to 3, $220.
All right.
3 to 3.5, $265.
Okie doke.
And 3.5 to 4 is $335.
335.
Now, the other nurseries, I have prices from Kohl's and Claire Barrows. They're a little cheaper, but they only have 2 sizes. Baby Don's girlfriend or what, so forth, wants a little bigger tree.
Marty, in your opinion, which caliper tree of a yellowwood would be the most successful or most likely to be successful?
2.5 to 3.
The 2.5 to 3. Okay.
But
So that one was, you
make it
quoted
a little better
220.
showing, and I don't think money's the object here.
And I agree.
I would like to see a 3 to 3.5. I think 3.5 to 4 is a little big,
Oh, okay.
but I would recommend either 2.5 to 3 or 3 to 3.5.
Okay.
And as I say, the other nurseries only have the 2 to 2.5ers.
Well, that's only a $45 difference. So that's fine. Yeah.
And it's a difference of 2 or 3 years in the age of the tree.
Okay.
And I think I had to be involved in the placement. We had to find a nice placement for it.
Yes. Yes. Well, thank you.
do we have an idea where we want to put that tree? Or
It was my understanding that somewhere near our native garden.
yeah,
Right. Right.
Maybe on the other side, I'll have to clear a nice area so the tree can mature into a nice, beautiful tree. It's a
Yeah.
great tree.
yeah. Okay.
Good. I think there's also a push underway to have a bench as well. So that I don't know what the placement would be, if that would be right near the tree or in that same area anyway.
I would hope so.
Maybe we can arrange Marty, Janine, and Chris Mason, and possibly Karen to get out there and
I think that
see a spot.
the bench has to be in keeping with the rest of the park.
It does, Marty, you're right.
Yeah, I mean, to introduce a new type of bench is wrong in my opinion.
I think Janine has been working with Karen Sweeney about the bench because that is through Parks. That would, the bench acquisition would be through Parks.
Right.
Can I make a suggestion? If we're allowed to work in the park again, the next scheduled work day is June 27th. And maybe we
Correct.
can, Marty, I don't know if you're available on June 27th on Saturday, but maybe we could, since we'll be over there anyway, maybe we could look around and try to pick
Yeah,
a spot for
good
that
idea.
tree.
I'll be there.
June 27th at
Are
Park
we
One.
allowed to go in now or?
We're allowed to go in and, yeah, and you know, being careful, obviously, but we're allowed to go in.
Okay.
So maybe we can pick a spot for the tree. I don't know if you want to plant in June or July, but maybe it's better in the fall. I don't know, but
Better in the fall.
yeah.
Would September be a good time to plant then, Marty? Should we shoot for that?
Excellent time.
Good.
That's a Sunday, right? So it's June 21st, right?
June. Oh, is it the 21st? I'm sorry. Wait.
Yes, it's a Sunday, right? So June
No,
21st.
it's usually on a Saturday, isn't it?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, the last Saturday.
27th,
It's the 27th, actually.
2/7, right.
Yeah, the 21st is Father's Day, and so pretty sure it's not that day.
Okay, so June 27th then.
I was looking on our calendar. So.
All right. Thank you. Anything else, Marty, that you wanted to share about the Yellowwood?
No, this is a great tree, and I don't know what's the matter with my Zoom, but I lost you guys' pictures, but
Hmm.
I'm here.
We see you.
Does Zoom only lasts 45 minutes?
No, if you pay for it, it lasts as long as you want.
Okay, well, I don't know if my son paid for it or not.
No. The township is paying for it. Don't worry.
I have Zoom, and I had everybody's picture until 5 minutes ago. Now all I got is a big Zoom, but I can still hear you very well.
Okay.
Okay, well, hearing's good. That part's good.
We're not making faces at you, we promise.
No.
Can you see me on the screen?
We
Yeah,
can't.
we see you.
Okay.
All right. That was a good thing to cover about Don Richardson's memorial tree and the bench. That was a little further ahead on the agenda, but I'm just going to jump back then to the native plant brochure. How many of those brochures are currently available? And I know, Andrea, you've been working now with a new vendor about printing. Do you want to fill everybody in about that?
Sure. So currently I do have a couple brochures in my office, probably less than 10.
Okay.
And I did get a phone call from a woman who is involved with the Newtown EAC. Unfortunately, I don't remember her name. But she came to one of our events, knows about our brochure, and would like to have her hands on 5 copies to bring to Newtown as well as her neighborhood and show them to her connections. She said she's willing to pay for them. So I'm not sure if, that's something we want, or if we're willing to, give them to her so that she can, basically further the communication with them. So I told her that I would check with you guys at the meeting, and she has her meeting tomorrow. So
Okay.
I just wanted to make a point. I don't think we should charge her. That would set a strange precedent for that. And also, is there a way to offer this as a PDF on our township? Because this should really be made available to anyone who wants it.
yeah, definitely. So it is going to be on the EAC page of the website, but since it's kind of complicated and it was created with one page kind of upside down because of the nature of the brochure, I'm still working on the best way to upload it to the website. And even though it would be available electronically, unfortunately, if you don't have a printer that prints like 11 by 17, then you won't get the full effect of the brochure because it is printed on 11 by 17. And I mean, obviously Staples is having complications printing it. So I I think she does want hard copies. So, maybe the precedent could be if someone reaches out, we could give possibly, a strict number of hard copies, but then if they want any more than that, we can offer them, to print it themselves online or view it electronically. But she's the only person so far who's reached out. So, since we don't have a lot of copies left at this moment, not sure if you want to give them up, but we are going to be getting our new brochure shortly. So I did send out an email, but just to reiterate, the woman who I've been working diligently with at Staples, basically before we print, I get a proof, and I have to approve the proof before we go ahead and print. And there has been multiple mistakes with the proof. It's been coming back upside down. So when you open up the middle flap, it's upside down. And the color is not correct. So it's been frustrating, but April has been working with me to make sure that, we get it right. So she called me on Friday and basically said, I want to go to a different printer, and it's still through Staples, but it would be a different production center. Maybe she has a better rapport with them. She also said that the production center that we are currently going with is a copier, where this new one will be a printer. So hopefully that would alleviate this color problem that seems to be happening every time I get a proof.
What's our cost per?
Yeah, so this new production center would actually be less expensive. So I believe originally we had talked about getting the 800, and it was about $1 a piece. So it was about like $800 or something. Where this new production center, we can get 1,000 for, I think it's $512. Is that what I said?
It was great. Yeah.
So she was like, one, it will be hopefully a better quality product, and it's less expensive. So I don't know, maybe it was just until we got to our wit's end that we chose this route, but I just want you guys to know that I am, working, I haven't forgotten about it. And I am working diligently to make sure we get, we don't want it to be messed up. We want it to be accurate.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that, Andrea. I know it's been
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long task. You've been on this for a long time, but it does sound hopeful that maybe this other company or facility can do a better job, and certainly the price is better. So yay. What is everybody's thought about sending 5 hard copies to Newtown? Are we good on that? And do we want to charge?
I think it's good advertisement.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The township's name is on it, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the seal, and
I
it says produced and created by Doylestown Township's Environmental Advisory Council.
That's great. Yeah. Send them 5.
And she knew, like right away, when she called, she wanted to speak to the EAC. And
I think we talked about her. I think Janine and I talked to her at the Meadow Management Workshop. Janine was telling everybody.
Exactly. Yes, that is, yep.
We were bragging to everybody at the Meadow Management Workshop about our brochure, so you'll have more calls.
Yeah. Okay, so is it a go?
Go.
I agree.
Let's vote. Is it a go?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. It's a go. I guess we should do a formal motion and second.
I make a motion that we send 5 copies of the native plant brochure to Newtown free.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Passed.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. That's really, 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 like I said, you've been on this for a long time.
You have, thank you.
But it is a really good product. I think we are proud of it. And I think it's great if people are looking to get this information and enjoy our brochure. That's the whole point. If they're willing to look, maybe they're willing to follow through and do it. So yay.
And it's not like the information's going out of date. So even though, unfortunately, maybe we're missing this kind of time right now, the information is going to still be relevant for years to come. So
absolutely right. Yes. But thank you very much. I know it's been a long slog, but thank you. We really appreciate it. I might have to ask you again if you know anything about the Environmental Education Center display case, Andrea.
I do. Yeah, so the display case has arrived. And basically, you know how we've been talking, well, one, about the location, and Chris Mason and Janine, I had thought, took a walk out there and decided on a location. But Chris wanted to make sure that it was correct before he went and, you know, put it in, because the last thing he wants to do is have to, you know, change it. So I did reach out to Janine earlier today just to double check. And though the communication was lacking a little bit, because I think she was on the road or, you know, she's busy, she did say that they did talk about another location, but that she feels where the current Edgar Putnam sign is would be the best spot. So I believe that is the consensus, that it would be there. So when, you know, you're walking on, so the back isn't visible because it's kind of against that tree. So I believe that is the consensus of where the new message board will go. And then I'm also in the process of working with Rick Shea about the sign to name it. So he did show me a sign that we have at the township. So I think everyone saw the mock-up, but basically, you know, the message board has legs, it's cork board, and then it has a little roof. And the sign where it would say Edgar Putnam is going to be placed underneath the cork board. Originally, I had kind of had it hanging a little bit, but we decided that wouldn't be feasible and it wouldn't last as long. So it's going to be in the legs, kind of under the cork board. And it's uniform with some other signs that we have around the township. And it should be sturdy and last a long time, and a good way to name the area.
Great, awesome.
Is it a metal sign or is it a wooden sign, or what is the material of the sign?
So it's what did he say? It's not metal, and it's not like the kind of the flimsier signs that we have around the garden that say
Right.
that we have on the posts. It's not like that. It's something backed by the corrugated material. I'm not exactly sure, Anne, but I looked at it with Rick today, and it's a solid material.
Okay.
But I think it'll be good. So
It's not woodpecker friendly, I guess, right?
no,
That was the
it's
problem, I
like it's
think,
like
before.
glazed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not sure, you know, the last time the township building, but if when we park, there's an area on the side of the building and it says for employees only. And it's in the grass. It's similar to that. But I did ask Rick about getting a mock-up. So hopefully once the message board's installed, maybe we could get kind of like a mock-up and place it and just make sure that it, you know, looks that that's right before we, you know, install anything. So
Good. It sounds like that's moving.
yes.
Thank you.
Chris wants to install the message board this week. So
Oh,
it should be in this week.
Excellent. Good.
great. All right. Del Valle University grant application for composting. Was that Tanya?
Yeah, I think we should, I don't think we have any new information on that.
I think we may have to just move on. If she is able to join us later, we'll jump back to that. The single-use plastic survey, the data and next steps. I guess there was a summary. I mean, Andrea, you sent out a summary of the responses that we got. I think we had about 200 plus, maybe 250 something in responses. That was a lot less than what the borough had, but still, I mean, at least we got feedback, so that was good.
Yeah, and I think that the proportion that were sort of in favor of some restrictions on single-use plastic was very similar to the township, right? I think it was 80 to 20 or something like that, right?
Absolutely right, Jim. It was very, very similar numbers, or well, not the raw numbers, but the
Just the proportions. were very
proportion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Was very similar. So I think there is an appetite for single-use plastic. I don't know with our current situation what's going on about the moratorium that was, on through next month in the Pennsylvania
I
legislature.
have information on that, and it's not good.
Okay. Dan, what is it?
In the current budget going through Harrisburg, they slipped in a detail in there that extends the moratorium essentially into next year, into 2021. I've spoken with our Representative Wendy Ullman about it.
Yeah.
She's not happy about it in the least, but they tied it to the budget bill that also provided for like $300 million in property tax relief for residents. So they've made it almost impossible to vote against it. So,
well, that's bad
where
news.
that's headed.
Yeah. Now, Dan, that the moratorium is on municipalities basically passing in the legislation, right? It's not about banning per se, because we're not really talking about banning this. We're talking about, even in San Francisco, for example, they don't ban plastic bags. They charge you a nickel or a dime or something for a plastic bag, right? So it's just a way of disincentivizing. But this moratorium, you're saying, does not allow municipalities to do anything.
I have to look at the exact language of it, and I can follow up on that. But I believe that municipalities aren't allowed to pass regulations regarding plastic bags.
How did
If you're right, Dan.
How did the borough do that?
But they haven't.
They haven't.
They're in the same boat we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one in Pennsylvania has, Jim. It's only in Lambertville that they were able to do this.
Okay, so
Narberth was able to because they got it through before the ban,
Very good.
before the moratorium, I'm sorry.
the borough had passed something already. Okay.
Borough is ready to go once the moratorium's lifted.
Yeah.
But my understanding is they have not passed anything.
That was our plan too, is to, make sure that we were aware of how our citizens felt about this here in the township. And so we would be ready to go too, but now we're gonna have to.
You're right, Heidi. Yeah.
Yeah, but I
you're
think what I would say is I'm totally for. I mean, plastic is you know how I feel about this. But one thing we ought to do is maybe talk to people more, because some of the criticism we got, some of the feedback we got, I thought was valid. And I think you can't just steamroll over people's concerns. So there's going to have to be a plan to roll this out. I know that obviously Lambertville did a good job with this, I think. But I wonder if we ought not talk to maybe, let's say, the Chamber of Commerce has a subcommittee on environment and sustainability or something like that. Or, so, I mean, I just wonder if we ought not just get into a dialogue with some of the stakeholders here so that as we push this along, it doesn't become adversarial. I don't know if anybody has any, connections there, or, but I just wonder if we ought not just continue to gather some information and build some relationships before we just sort of unilaterally start to think about legislation.
Well, we can't. I mean, Jim, we can't even do anything right now. I mean, we're not allowed to do anything as long as the moratorium is in place.
Right, but we
What
can.
we can do is we can educate our citizens about plastics and why they're bad.
Right, but I mean, we could talk to business owners. I mean, I think, and sort of grease the skids a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, and now's an interesting time too with, education, because since we're not allowed to, go out, a lot of people are doing more takeout than they were before, and more plastic, more containers.
Oh my God.
Now more than ever. So maybe I could potentially maybe write up something for not the newsletter, but maybe for the website, and, kind of just reiterate that.
I'm also noticing too, some stores, I usually use, my own bags. I bring my
Yeah,
own.
they're not letting you.
Some stores are not allowing it because of the concern of spreading, COVID. So
yeah.
Yep.
It's a tricky time right now.
it really
It is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
it needs to be like low, kind of, leave it to the side right now until things settle down. I mean, it's just not a whole lot anyone can do right now with single-use plastic overall.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that because the survey came back the way it did, with definitely a majority of people in favor, hopefully they're practicing already in their lives, being careful with plastic and recycling what they can if they are using plastic. And I think maybe something on the website would be a good reminder that, you know, just because we're in a pandemic doesn't mean that you shouldn't be recycling appropriately and thinking about the environment. So, I mean, it's a tall task. We're in a very strange place right now. I saw something recently that we have the economics of 1929, the protests of 1969, and the pandemic of 1919. So it's all rolled into one. And of course, then Greta Thunberg would say, also our house is on fire. So we have a lot of stuff going on right now.
A lot of layers.
A lot of layers is right.
Yeah.
And everybody's got, of course, their whole personal things going on and family things. So it just, it's a very intense time right now. I'm not saying that we should drop the plastics thing, but I agree with Heidi that I'm not sure how much we can do legally, so to speak, before the moratorium's lifted. And maybe we'll have a change in after the election in the Pennsylvania legislature that would be more friendly to a environmentally sound plan, I hope. Any other comments on the plastic ban? All right, then let's move on to, well, we did Don Richardson, the PA DEP Growing Greener grant for Sauerman Park. Do we have any update on that at all? I guess, Andrea, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to ask you if you know anything.
I am not aware of any updates. I know that was something, you know, Stephanie was in communication about, so I can check in with her tomorrow and see if there is any update.
Okay, that's been another long process. It'd be nice to at least find out whether, if we're not getting the grant, it'd be nice, I guess, to find out. And if we are, that would be awesome. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, then let's move to Janine's question of should we consider having an EAC summit in the fall? Since obviously we did not have the EAC summit planned for this month, which is when we have done it in the past. Should we even start considering about having an EAC summit in the fall? Does anyone have thoughts on that?
Only if the virus is right.
Thank you, Marty. I agree.
I mean, I would say, should we have some kind of contingency plan though? Like if, you know, we can't come together and we have some kind of Zoom, you know, presence, we could maybe have a guest speaker or something to talk about some things that are important. You know, it would be hard to do some sharing like we normally do and we break it down to different topics.
Yeah.
But maybe it would be nice, just an opportunity for people to come together, maybe have something in writing, you know, that we can share amongst ourselves, and then, you know, some kind of, you know, have an agenda. But I think some kind of guest speaker that would, you know, just to keep the ball rolling so that we can connect with each other. I don't know, to have some semblance of, you know, normalcy between us for the EACs.
Yeah, actually, in some ways, Zoom actually makes it easier, you know.
Mm-hmm. It does.
You don't need a meeting place. You don't need to worry about refreshments, right? So it's become, yeah, maybe. What do you think? Maybe people thinking maybe September, October. I mean, I don't know what other people are thinking, but
I just think we need to choose a date and go with it. You know.
All right.
I'm looking at a calendar now. Let's see. If we did September, what day of the week have we done before? Does anyone remember?
Wednesday. Usually Wednesday.
And I don't think we should do September though, because if the kids go back to school, it's gonna be really challenging for families.
Good point.
Negotiate, you know.
Let's try October.
I think October is better.
Yeah.
How about October 7th?
Perfect.
It's a Wednesday. And we'll see how things are going. If COVID's raving and everybody's got the flu, then we maybe not, but at least we could try.
I think, you know, at least, you know, if we can't meet together, have a Zoom meeting and maybe consider some kind of guest speaker.
Okay, I think that's a good idea. I'm thinking too, maybe we could share a little bit, and this could be done ahead of time, share like a little summary of how EACs are managing through this particular time in our lives. Are they able to continue things, or where they feel stymied or whatever? I think that might be a good way to share ahead of time, because you're right, it's a little bit difficult on Zoom if you have, you know, 50 people on. It's going to be a little confusing. But I think it would be nice to know maybe another EAC has figured out a path that would be helpful to us or to help with the other EACs that we haven't thought of.
Yeah.
I talked with Eric Allen, Silbury Township's EAC chairman, and I asked him how that was going, what their EAC was doing in light of COVID-19, and he said, well, basically nothing. So, I think there's probably some of that, but there may be EACs that are forging ahead in different ways. So maybe it would encourage them if they knew that they were going to report that in October to actually, pull themselves together and continue whatever they could. I don't know, it's just my thought.
Yeah, also maybe think of maybe instead of just having one speaker, maybe have a couple. Like it would be great to have someone about Ready for 100, just because we're really trying to, as a goal for Ready for 100, really bring a number of municipalities on board for this year. It'd still be nice to meet that goal. So maybe that would be one thing, because that's an important goal for for Ready for 100. But another topic too, that we can decide as an EAC that we want to highlight for the year.
I think I'd be fine with that if they could be limited to sort of a briefer presentation than some of the ones we've had in the past that were an hour plus. I think it's a lot to ask people to listen to, but if it could be maybe 20-25 minutes, a couple of those that would work. That's just my opinion.
I agree, and maybe even short, like 10 minutes each or something, just
even better. Yeah.
Maybe have 2 or 3 of those that are 10 minutes each.
Yeah, maybe hitting different areas of the environment, like you're suggesting. Renewable energy would be a great thing, but also maybe something in PA Audubon or, Birdtown or that aspect, or native plants or whatever. We could figure out topics and then find speakers. But I think we need to have them agree to a fairly short presentation rather than a full length, narrative on things.
Well, since it's already June, it doesn't give us a ton of time. Maybe, just a suggestion, maybe all of us be thinking about it, and maybe we can put an email out in the next week or so of ideas that we have that we would want to be focuses that we would want to have for that meeting, for the summit. So our thinking, caps on for all of us. And Ann, do you want to do that since you're running the meeting tonight?
Yeah. Well, Janine should be back later this week, so I'll check in with her on this, but and make sure that she's good. I don't want to.
Right, of course.
Ride over her. I want her to be on board. So let me run that past her, and she may want to take over the email.
Of course, that makes sense.
But okay. Yeah, I think it's a great idea. Yeah.
I'm just winging it here. I don't know, just some thoughts.
I know. No, it's great. We're all just doing the best we can. So very good. Well, that is the summit and the invasive plant workshop. Well, I think, Jim, your idea about doing the invasive plant of the month was excellent, and maybe we go with that for right now. Yeah, I think the workshops were awesome when we could all get together, but we're not there.
I'm just looking on our calendar if there's a...
There is one scheduled in October 24th, I believe.
Yeah, we have a date already.
Okay,
And,
the Burning Bush one was already scheduled?
It was.
Oh.
We had an October one already scheduled.
I want to suggest something. I think Jim's idea is really good, but something that we did at Bucks Audubon is we started a new program called the Great Sunflower Project, and we've actually been doing like a Zoom presentations where someone gives a short presentation, gives them an example of what the plant looks like and how to prune it or how to get rid of it. You can actually do it in real time on Zoom. It can be a presentation, it can be, it's been very effective where it's just one person in front of everybody. You can have like 50 people watching, just like, we're doing, have a presentation about how to do it. It's like a hands-on or DIY, presentation where people can see how to, remove invasives, i.e. the burning bush for October.
And that could be the same, sorry. And that could be the same as, if you took your phone and set it up, and started recording. So that's something, we've had discussions before about, hey, we can grab content just in our backyards, but it's easier said than done. So
I'm happy to do it. Like I did a PowerPoint presentation for that, and doing a PowerPoint presentation works really well. Because you have control over it. It's something that's already done. You can go, review it beforehand. You can meet and discuss it, go through it, and then actually put it up as an event. What do you guys think?
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you saying in place of the workshop?
Not in place of, actually just, it would still be the same day, but instead of being there in person, we would do it as a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, I'm hoping that by October we can actually get out and do some things.
Me too.
So
Maybe we can do that idea for the event that we missed. So we
could do
could,
that. Sure.
we'll do that.
Oh, the garlic mustard, or what
Yeah.
were you guys
One
doing?
with
with garlic mustard and
Wineberry.
wineberry, and there was another one too, I forget.
And Heidi, do you have that ready to go?
I don't. I would have to create it.
Okay.
I would have to create it. Do you guys want me to do something like that? I mean, Andrea and I could work on it together.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we could work on that together.
Okay.
I
All right.
think it'd be amazing, yeah. And I think that plus, I'm not saying either or, I think it's a plus to Jim's idea of the invasive plant of the month. Why
Absolutely.
not? You know, have it all.
Right. As we have time. PowerPoint. All right.
Very good. Thanks, Heidi. That's great. Does anybody have anything else?
I have one thing to say.
I do
Yes.
too. Go ahead, Andrea.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say that you did a really, really good job heading this meeting tonight.
Yes, I agree. I
You're
agree.
so
Yeah, I feel
sweet.
like we were, you
I
know,
agree.
all we got a lot accomplished. We talked about a lot in a calm manner, and you did a very good job.
Oh, you're so kind.
I agree. But before we close, I had one more thing, you guys.
Good.
I sent you an email today too called Dare to Be Tick Awareness. Remember we
yeah.
had a presentation last February 2019. And so I'm continuing to get emails from them. And so they, you know, they're offering workshops still, you know, via, you know, Zoom, you know, virtual workshops. So that was one thing. And then secondly, I just wanted to bring awareness to you that they are also offering impact. What's it called? It's called an impact series. And it's a 3-part series, and you can tune into it. It's very good. It's very thorough about, you know, different aspects of Lyme disease and, you know, dealing with ticks and so on. But I sent you guys the website. It's a YouTube video. You guys could take a look at it and see if it would be worthwhile including it on our Doylestown Township page, just as a follow-up for Lyme's, you know, our Lyme's program. And
Yeah, I saw the email, but I didn't have a chance to look at any of the attachments. It was one of those days, so I'm sorry. But I think that's a good idea. If we all could take a look, that'd be awesome. And we can give feedback to you. I think it's a good idea, but I haven't seen any of it yet. So
take a look. I just want to see what you guys thought. There's no hurry. You know, take a look and see if you think there's any value there that would be helpful putting it on the township website.
okay.
I had one more thing, I'm sorry. So I've been sharing about the Penn State Extension live webinars that they've been hosting in the past couple months. So I'm not sure if you guys are part of their email blasts, but they do have a webinar on this Thursday, June 11th, that starts at 1 p.m. And it's about stream health. So if anybody wants that information for registering, if you want to email me, I can email you the link. Or if you're interested in any of the Penn State Extension webinars, we've been posting the registration link on our website. So.
Is there a cost for it?
I believe it is free. Let me see.
It's free.
The event is being offered at no charge. Registration is required to receive the link. So no charge.
My favorite price.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's great. Anybody else have anything? Marty, are you good?
I'm good.
All right, sweetie. Dan, anything?
I'm good.
You're good? Heidi?
I just want to say thank you to Kurt for attending the meeting tonight. It was great to see you.
Yay. Kurt,
You're very
do you have
kind.
anything to add?
I don't, but thank you for inviting me.
Well, hopefully we'll be seeing you again soon.
Yeah.
Jim,
I'm all good, thank you.
you're good? All right. Well, guys, it's 8:15. That was it's a miracle. We never finish in an hour and 15 minutes. But I think we did a good job, and my best to all of you. Stay healthy, stay safe.
Do we,
And,
need a motion? Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Oh, we probably do, Marty.
I make no motion that we adjourn.
I second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're out.
Man.
Thanks, guys.
Everybody.
Bye.
Stay
Good
safe.
night.
Take care.
Good night, Steph. I'm sorry I forgot for you.